Hey everyone, Big Pauly back with a brand new video. Yes, back with a new episode of stuff I could be bothered to watch. Except it's not, because I've decided after all this time to rename it. Yes, it was a bit of a mouthful, to be honest. Now it's going to be called Big Pauly's Review Roundup. And I'll just be talking about films that I've seen, maybe a splashing of streaming there, here and there, and maybe a little bit of TV. And I'll try and get these out every 2 weeks or so. First of all, though, we are going to be talking about In the Lost Lands. Yes, which was very kindly sent over to me from the lovely guys at Fetch Publicity to review. Okay, let's get into it, because I've got a few good things to say and a few bad things to say about this one. Okay, so In the Lost Lands from Studio Canal. This is from a short story by George R.R. Martin of Game of Thrones fame. And it kind of, in a way, feels very Mad Maxy, meets a bit of The Last of Us, meets Resident Evil. I mean, it's directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who did the Resident Evil films, and also Monster Hunter, which was very good. But he did do that really good film, that really good science fiction space horror film, Event Horizon, which is a classic in my opinion. Yeah, so this film stars Mila Jovovich as Grey Alice. Yeah, not Red Alice or Blue Alice, but she's Grey Alice. Alice again. That's original. Yeah, and she's kind of a witch. She's a witchy. And she's travelling the wastelands in the Lost Lands in order to try and get some power. Look for some power. In order to get there, she needs to be protected, and she hires Dave Bautista's character called Boyce. I would say that he's kind of like a cowboy version of the Mandalorian or Cad Bane. Yeah, but a bit more friendly. But he has a secret that we don't find out about until the end. And it's just about them roaming the wastelands, try to avoid the creatures that are roaming the wasteland, because, you know, humanity's all come to an end and it's just wasteland and creatures that are roaming. But we do get a bit of religious stuff in there. There's this religious nut and her henchmen that are trying to kill Grey Alice. And there's also this queen that smothered the kind of like the leader. She smothered him with a pillow so that she could take his place. Yeah. So that's it, basically. Now, as for the look of the film, it is very gamey. So very Xboxy, PlayStation-y gamey. It's like a lot of cutscenes from the games. It's very clean. It's very digital. It's got this sepia tint all the way through the film. This colour all the way through the film. Obviously to give you the effect of the apocalypse with, you know, falling down buildings and stuff like that, and wastelands. But it is very digital. It's very clean, so grain lovers will hate this film. Even though it was filmed on 2 sound stages somewhere in Poland, visually it looks good. Visually it looks good, but it still looks very computer gamey. Unfortunately, I wasn't sold on a lot of the characters. A lot of the characters are just throwaway characters that have no bearing on the story and are just there in the story. You know, there's no emotional connection to them. I wouldn't care if they died a minute into the film or 2 hours into the film. As for the 2 leads, they really don't have a connection together. There's no on-screen chemistry. I mean, Dave Bautista is just following her lead, and yeah, there's nothing to give you any kind of emotional impact, or you root for the good guys. And that's one of the problems of the film. I did think there was some pacing issues from time to time. and I kind of felt myself like drifting out of it and kind of like looking at my watch. So yeah, I'm thinking it's one of those one-time watches. It's just there and it's done. There's no passion to revisit the film because it's all done. They've told the story and it's done. And memorable. There's not. I mean, what? Two memorable moments, I think, kind of like stand out now. The rest is just gone. It's just gone in the background. One of them was a falling train, very Dead Reckoning Part 1 style. And there was quite an interesting little sequence with a school bus and kind of like a cable car going across from a canyon. That was kind of interesting. That was a glue to the moment scene, you know. But other than that, I think it's just a throwaway movie that you'll watch once and just completely forget about. Yeah, so unfortunately it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but yeah, okay. I mean, that's what we come to expect, I think, from Paul W.S. Anderson. You know, I like the Resident Evil films. Of, you know, one or two are not too good, but I like the continuation of the story and everything. And each of the films has something new to offer. I didn't like Monster Hunter. I thought that was absolute trash. And unfortunately he's not redeemed himself with this one. So yeah, it's just one of those watch once and forget about moments, unfortunately. So there we go. So that is In the Lost Lands. I'd still like to say a big thank you to Fetch Publicity to sending that over, though, for me to review. Next up is a film called Downsizing, starring Matt Damon. This is about a Norwegian scientist who has found a way to shrink a human being down to 5 inches, kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, in a bid to help the environment and global warming. Because obviously the smaller you are, the less you eat. Yeah, so Matt Damon and his wife are having a few financial problems, and they decide to shrink themselves. Well, it kind of like doesn't work out as they'd hoped. But as time goes on, it's seen as the normal thing. You know, you've got regular sized people living side by side with 5-inch versions. And they have their own little communities where they live. They got like little electric cars. In fact, in this miniature world, it doesn't look any different from regular world. And it's irreversible. The procedure is irreversible. So you can't decide then when you're small to become, you know, large. You're stuck with it. But it means that you can live out a life comfortably, fairly rich as well. You consume less products. There's less impact on the environment as well. It was an interesting little film. The shrinking down procedure was very kind of like futuristic and clinical. You had to lay on this kind of like doctor's table, totally naked, while some woman shaves every piece of you. Yeah, for some reason, hair doesn't work well being miniaturized. I don't know why. They didn't explain it. So the film delves with global warming and what impact there is, what impact humans are doing on the planet. So it is a little bit political there, but it also tinkers with the question of, is it worth doing it? Knowing that your life is going to be completely different and it's irreversible. So, yeah, I thought it was a fun little film. Reminded me a little bit of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and was it Welcome to Marwen? Which was mainly about kind of like action figures and things like that. But, yeah, all these little miniature people all just interacting with full-size people was kind of unique. I don't think he did too well at the box office, though, unfortunately. I found the film by accident. As I was streaming through one of the streaming sites. But yeah, Matt Damon, he was pretty good in it. Also, Christoph Waltz was in it as well as a shrunken raver. That was Matt Damon's upstairs neighbour, and kept making a load of noise. But yeah, I thought it was okay. Might be a one-time watch. But I thought it was okay. Okay, next up is a shark film with Richard Dreyfuss. No, it's not Jaws. Yeah, I just found this by accident on Paramount Plus. It's called Into the Deep. And I thought, okay, give it a go. Richard Dreyfuss in a shark movie. How bad can it be? So gave it a go. And I've got to say, I won't say that I'm pleasantly surprised, but I was surprised that it wasn't a real stinker. Because these are usually kind of like £3 Asda films, aren't they? Late night crap DVD stuff. Yeah, I think someone next door is trying to kill the shark. They're cutting it up. Next door neighbour's doing their kitchen. And they've got a circular saw or something going. Anyway, yeah, so this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It was mildly entertaining. There were a few problems, which I'll talk about. The main premise of the story is this family, the father, the mother, and a little girl. I think she was about 12 years old or something like that. And her father's out in this kind of like a lake. I don't know if it's the sea or the lake. I think it's kind of lake. And he's trying to teach his daughter to swim. Unfortunately, the shark thinks it's lunchtime. So, yeah, he eats her father. And that scars the girl for life. She won't go anywhere near water. And then we just skip forward about 20 years. And she decides to go in the water. Yes, her and her boyfriend or husband, I think, board this boat and go out to a shipwreck off the coast of Thailand. And they basically dive down to see if they can find some gold coins, which apparently is supposed to be there. They got the whole cage and everything. And they're accompanied by another couple. Unfortunately, one of them gets bitten and loses a limb. Is that not enough to tell you to stay out of the water? Yeah, but then we've got, of course, you've got to have the relevant bad guy for the film, and this is played by John Cedar, not Cena, John Cedar, and him in his boat full of cronies with machine guns overpower this kind of like official Coast Guard type of boat, kill everybody, and they use the passengers on this boat to go down and get something for them. It's not the gold coins. There's a lot of drugs that either some boat dropped or an aeroplane dropped. And they basically hold them hostage and threaten to kill them if they don't go down and retrieve everything. He's a bit of a nasty work, old John Cedar. It kind of reminds me a little bit of a Die Hard situation. Die Hard on a boat, yeah, with a really bad shark. Is there anybody that I know in it? Yes, there is. Other than John Cedar, there is. Oh, God, what's his name? I can't remember his name. There you go. Stuart something. Oh God, I can't remember his name. Stuart something. Yeah, that'll do. His name's Stuart something. But we also do have Richard Dreyfuss. He's the Luke Skywalker. Yeah, his part of the story is told in flashback form. He's the little girl's grandfather, and every now and again it flashes back to when he was teaching her about life, teaching her about the ocean and the sea. It's exactly like The Last Jedi. Richard Dreyfuss has taken on the role of old Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Yeah, it's very, very similar vibes that gave me. So everyone's in peril, people are getting bitten, and the bad guys are threatening to kill you. What else can you have in a film? Well, you can have a bit of bad CGI, yeah. The blood looks crap. It looks terrible. It's just a great big splodge of red, just superimposed on the top of the water. Doesn't look like blood. It doesn't move like blood. And it's just a mess. It's like an oil painting mess. Yeah, the sharks, okay, the sharks look relatively okay. But a lot of the shark scenes are filmed in like really murky waters. This is supposed to be off the coast of Thailand, and it's murky water. It's supposed to be like crystal clear water and that. And of course, that's a way of blocking out all the imperfections in the CGI. There were a few scenes where the shark looked okay, but you don't really get that peril. You don't get a sense of fear from the shark like you did with Jaws and other shark films. And it's just a nuisance that just keeps coming around knocking on the door. One good thing, though, that I realised at the end of the film, which was actually pretty good, is that although the woman wanted to get out there and she wanted to face the shark, it really wasn't the shark that she was trying to get revenge back at. It was John Cena. He was like the bully. He was like the shark that was threatening and killing. And when she came to peace with the shark under the water, I think she just she just stepped over that period. And it was all about her and John Cena's character. And he was the threat. And he was the person that was killing him. So yeah, I like that. I like that. That was quite interesting. A little interesting little spin where it wasn't really about the shark. It was about John Cena's character and these hoodlums on the boat. But it's a one-time watch. It is a Asda a £3 DVD or a late night crap DVD. It's not something you're going to buy and stick in the collection. It is definitely a one-time watch. And Richard Dreyfuss is probably in it for about 15 minutes screen time here and there throughout the film, every time you need a flashback. He does appear at the end of the film over the credits. And for the entire credits, it's just him talking about sharks and how humans treat sharks and how we've always treated sharks, that we cut off their fins and use them for soup. And it's a Greenpeace advert for sharks. That's basically what it is. And that runs for the entire length of the credits. So, yeah, if you don't really want to know about the ins and outs of sharks, turn it off as soon as the credits start to roll. But there you go. It's called Into the Deep. It's not up there with all the other shark films, way better shark films. It is one of those low budget, spur of the moment, Friday night, totally pissed, having a curry, let's put something on type of film. There we go. It's called Into the Deep. Okay, next up, Come True. Yes. I thought at start this was a kind of like a little bit like Flatliners, but with dreams. I had a dream the other night. I dreamt that I ate a giant marshmallow. Woke up in the morning and my pillow was gone. Oh dear. But the night before that, I had a D-ream. Yeah. Things can only get better. Oh dear me. Anyway, yes, so this film is about a teenage runaway that's having sleep problems. She keeps having nightmares, dreaming about these weird visions and this dark figure with bright eyes. And one day while she's at school, she sees this notice board and it says sleep apnea trials and all that kind of stuff. We study your dreams. Problems sleeping, phone 0800. So she phones them up and gets roped into this study. They rig her up at night, in a bed, in a lab, lots of wires coming out, and they monitor her and stuff like that, and watch her dreams and read the dreams. And that's basically it. There is a bit of a twist on the end, which I actually didn't see that coming. I don't know if it makes it better or not, because I got a little bit confused at the end, because was she a vampire? I don't know. If you've watched it, you'll understand, but I really don't know. It was well, it wasn't disturbing. It was kind of scary. No, it wasn't scary. Visually disturbing, being in this dream and seeing all these weird figures and not knowing what it is, and it kind of like takes control. So in a way, it is a bit like Flatliners, but with dreams instead of death. It doesn't really tell us much about dreams. Not the dreams I have, anyway. But then again, still remember a dream I had 40 years ago about a jumbo jet crashing just up the road outside the pub. I don't know what that means. It's never happened. But I can still remember, and if I close my eyes, I can still picture it crashing. Weird, isn't it? Yeah, I can't even remember what I had for dinner last night. But I can remember a dream from 40 years ago. Yeah, so really weird. It was okay. It was okay. It was moderately entertaining. Didn't blow me away. I thought it was going to have like jump scares and stuff like that and be really scary, but it was more disturbing on a conscious level, and what dreams do. Yeah, but like I say at the end, I thought actually at the end of the film, as the film was wrapping up, I thought it was an advert for Apple's Find My iPhone. Yeah, you'll know if you've seen the film. But I'm still not sure about the ending, because it's kind of like, oh, right, okay, but it hasn't really given us any answers. Then again, dreams never do anyway. Anyway, yes, so that was Come True. Interesting film. I think probably a one-time watch because of the disturbing images on there, and it's not a full journey. You kind of like only get halfway and it doesn't resolve itself, and it leaves some unanswered questions. So anyway, yeah, there we go. So that's Come True. So if you do like films about dreams or nightmares and sleep apnea and all that kind of crap, then give it a go. You watch, I'm going to have a bloody nightmare tonight, aren't I? If I wake up in the middle of the night and there's a dark figure in the corner of the room with bright eyes, yeah, I'm not going to be happy. Anyway, there we go. That's Come True. Please don't come true. Next up, we have an Amazon exclusive called Heads of State. Yes, I wasn't expecting much of this film, to be perfectly honest. You know what streaming films are like. They're just like throwaway films you watch once and that's it. They don't really have much content in them or anything that keeps you glued to the TV screen. This really surprised me. I thought this was a cross between like Air Force One and Nobody. It was really actually good. Yeah, it stars John Cena as the US president. He's a bit like Arnie. You know, he's an ex-film star that was an action star. So it's like Arnie would have been president. And also Idris Elba as the British Prime Minister. And they don't click. They don't always click. There's a great action piece at the beginning of the film. Really good shootout scene with some CIA agents, which sets up kind of like the backstory of the actual film. But what happens is the president invites the Prime Minister onto Air Force One to go and do a show of solidarity and a show of force. They never get to where they're supposed to be going. The plane gets taken over in flight, and lots of gun action, explosions, grenades, martial arts, ass kicking, and they bail out. Yeah, they have to bail out. and Air Force One goes down, and both President and the Prime Minister are assumed lost. We do have a villain, of course, for the film, played by Paddy Considine, and it's up to the President and the Prime Minister to make their way to like the safe house and uncover the people behind, you know, this attack on Air Force One. We also have Jack Quaid in there as well. There's not a film this year that Jack Quaid hasn't been in. And he's pretty good. He's kind of like a Bond Q character, but with a bit more kick-ass action behind him. And I've got to say, from start to finish, it was wall-to-wall action. Like I say, guns, grenades, really good car chases, helicopters, rocket launchers, explosions. It's just really good, and a lot of fun. I love the chemistry between Idris Elba and John Cena. I thought John Cena as the US president, that ain't gonna work, but the way he plays it's very comedic. And to be perfectly honest, this is probably one of the best streaming films and the most fun streaming films that I think I've ever seen. Yeah. I could have very happily gone to the cinema to see this on the big screen. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that it's on Amazon, but, you know, sometimes these little gems come along. So give it a go if you like your action films, you like a bit of espionage and mystery and kind of like a buddy cop type of thing with the President and the Prime Minister bouncing off each other, then definitely give it a go. It's on Prime. But yeah, both me and my dad really enjoyed it. You know, this was right up Dad's alley. And I really do hope this gets a physical release, because as a streaming film and a streaming exclusive, I'd definitely have this as a physical copy on the shelf. Definitely. So there we go. That's Heads of State for me. A definite yes for a good bit of fun Friday night or Saturday afternoon popcorn action. Definitely. Okay, as it's July 4th today, at the time of recording this, I thought there's only one film to watch. Independence Day in 4K. 1996, Roland Emmerich, Dean Devlin. What can I say about this? This is a masterclass in alien invasion movies. If you want air punching, popcorn munching, Saturday afternoon film, this is it. This is it. Yeah, it's really exciting from start to finish. We get the aliens coming down. You know, are they nice? Are they not? Jeff Goldblum works it out that they're not. We have Bill Pullman as the US president, and of course Will Smith as Captain Stephen Hiller, who unfortunately didn't come back for Regurgence. I think he had a choice of either doing that film, the sequel, or I think it might have been Gemini Man, and I think he opted for the other one, which obviously screwed the second film up. So they had to change all the script, and I think it probably would have been a better film had Will Smith been in it, because they would have used the original story. Anyway, not to dwell on the second film, because I don't really like watching that one too often. As for this film, yeah, this blew into cinemas in 1996. Made our ears bleed from the explosions, practical effects, great storytelling. Okay, some of the dialogue can be a little bit corny, a little bit cheesy at times. But it's a July 4th weekend film. It's a celebration film. We get Randy Quaid in there, who'd previously been kidnapped and abducted by aliens who did lots of sexual things to him, apparently. And yeah, loads of other characters in background characters. One of the Baldwins is in there, Adam Baldwin, I think. And of course, Brent Spiner, who plays Dr. Jeffrey Okun, who's the scientist working at Area 51. And it's just about the aliens invading Earth, us fighting back, getting the fighter jets out, trying to work out how to kill them, and just kicking some alien arse. Exactly. That is what Captain Stephen Hill has said. Just anxious to get up there and whip E.T.'s arse. I can't say anything else other than that. It is a great 2 hour plus film. I've seen it a few times in the cinema. Personally, I think this should be on the cinema every year on July 4th or July 4th weekend. The music is absolutely spectacular. One of my favourite soundtracks of all time by David Arnold. Back in the 90s, David Arnold done some amazing soundtracks. This and Stargate, two of the most recognised theme tunes, you know, that we've ever had. And this is an air-punching, exciting soundtrack. I have the CD. I've played it multiple times. It's just got a catchy riff. And it's just got one of those ones that you can hum to, you can whistle to. Special effects, 1996. Most are practical. I've seen some of the behind the scenes, you know, features on how they blew up the Empire State Building and the White House and stuff like that. You know, CGI was only just coming into itself within a couple of years, and most of the effects on this is practical. You know, there are obviously a few CGI moments and computer design moments, such as the fighter jets and things like that. The original, I watched the original ending for this again the other day, where Randy Quaid's character Russell turns up in his biplane, in his red biplane. And although that is a fun scene, and it's kind of like, oh, it's so cheesy, I'm glad they didn't go with it now, because he was on 10. He knew what he was going to do, because he turned up with that bomb strapped to that plane, knowing that he was going to kill himself. But whereas when he was in the plane and the missile misfired, then it's a case of, I'm going to have to sacrifice myself for my children. So I'm glad they removed it. Although it was such a fun scene, having that red biplane, it is a little bit disbelief, a little bit unbelievable, thinking that it could get out of the way of all those fighter jets and not stall, and even climb up at the end into the probably bloody stall. Yeah, so anyway, there we go. Independence Day. This is a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece. Maybe not masterpiece in the way that you're thinking of whatever Godzilla, Godfather, and other films, Lawrence of Arabia, and, you know, bigger films, whatever, Casablanca, or whatever films you think are a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece in alien invasion movies. And it's just one of those ones I could just stick on any time of the year. Don't have to be July 4th weekend. Have fun with and just kick some alien arse. And yeah, it's just fantastic. And it's just a shame that the second film just didn't live up to it. It just didn't live up to it. Yeah, unfortunately. But we've always got this one. We've always got this one. So there we go. Absolutely fantastic Independence Day. I actually do have a few toys from, I think it was Trendmasters, that I've just found in my storage box up here in the house. I remember that I had them actually in the house. So I'm quickly going to show you them before we move on to the next film. Okay, so these came out to promote the film when the film came out. So we have the Independence Day fighter jet there. It's the F-18 Hornet. Yeah, it does have a little hole there where you can press, and I think it makes some noise, but I don't know, after all this time, I don't know if there was any batteries in it. I can't remember. Anyway, that's still in its box. I have opened it, of course. And then it shows you on the back there what you get inside. Push button inside hole for realistic sounds. Yeah, there are 2 AAA batteries included. So I'm hoping that I took the batteries out, because it's been up here for probably how long is it? 96, 2006, 2006, almost 30 years. So I dread to, if I left the batteries in, I dread to think what's happened inside. They would have corroded. I'm sure I took the batteries out. We also have the Alien Attacker as well. Also the same thing, makes noises, but it's not working. Really cool. I did have a few smaller figures as well. They came with floppy disks, but I don't have those now, so I don't know what happened to them. Yeah, they are, look, computer disks. So that's what it looks like, and I think it has the Alien inside there as well. And then we have this big bugger here as well. This is the Supreme Commander. I'm going to have to push the camera back a bit, actually. Push it back there. There we go. Look at that size of that thing. Really cool it is. Again, I think you on this one you wave your hand in front of it and it's supposed to do something, but obviously there's no batteries. Oh, I've taken the batteries out. One computer adventure there on a floppy disk. That shows you how long ago it was. Fully posable battle suit with bendable alien commander, 6 posable tentacles, motion sensor battle suit, screeches as it opens. Okay, so you wave your hand in front of it and probably the top opens up to show the alien inside. If I can get it to work, I'll show you. I'll do a video and I'll show you. But they were the other ones that were available as well. So you could get all the different aliens up the top there and the ships and stuff like that, and the smaller ones and the figures as well. Yeah, so there we go. So that's pretty cool. So I'm glad I kept those after all these years. I just have to check to make sure that the batteries haven't leaked inside. Anyway, there we go. So Independence Day. Yes, in my opinion, the greatest feel-good, punch the air, popcorn munching, alien invasion, kick-ass film probably ever put to screen. Absolutely love this film. There we go, Independence Day. Right, let's move on to the next film. Okay, so last up, for the time being anyway, is Rust, directed by Joel Souza. Now, this obviously has a troubled production. We've all heard about the lady, the cinematographer that lost her life. I think the director got injured as well because of the mishap with the gun and the live ammunition, and yeah, and the whole court cases that were going on, and who was going to get charged with manslaughter and all that kind of. So I'm not going to go into any of that because we've all heard it, we've read about it, we've seen it on the news and everything like that. So I'm just going to focus on the film. Now, the film is 2 hours and 20 minutes. It is a Western, and it stars Alec Baldwin as outlaw Harlan Rust. He's got a bit of a name going back, so people know of him. The film focuses on this young boy. His mum's died, and he's bringing up his younger brother in this little cabin in Wyoming. And an unfortunate incident happens. Someone dies, and basically the kid is arrested and he's going to be hung. In swoops Harlan Rust to the rescue, and he basically kind of kidnaps the boy and takes him out of the prison cell. That's all I'm going to say, because there is a lot more into it than that. There's a lot more about characters, backstory, relationships and things like that. But as a Western, I do like a good Western. First things first, the lady that died, which is clearly on the back of the box here, is cinematographer Helena Hutchins, ASC. And I've got to say, the cinematography in this was beautiful. The sweeping, epic shots across landscapes, dusk, dawn, mountains, sun shining through trees, snow falling, it's just beautiful to look at. Even on Blu-ray, it's a brilliant quality as well, really good quality, nice and clean. So it would have been nice to actually have a 4K for this, for the cinematography and just the beautiful look at it. It's so authentic in the way of a Western, you know, the outfits, the buildings, the mannerisms, it just fits right in there. It is kind of a road trip Western, but you've got bounty hunters as well, that go after Harlan and this boy, as well as the law as well, the sheriffs. So everyone's like, you know, going after them to bring them back, and to bring the boy back to stand trial for this mishap that happened. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good. There weren't any kind of like obvious scenes where it kind of like ended and then you know that's where the accident happened. So yeah, I thought it was really well done, and it's a shame that this tragedy actually affected the film, because I think it only made like $25,000 in the box office and then it just went straight to digital. So it could have been something to see widespread on the box office, you know, on the cinema screen. It would have looked absolutely brilliant. Alec Baldwin was really good in it. He was a bit grumpy at times, but he was this hardcore outlaw that everybody knows. And you can see that the years have taken its toll. Yeah. Frances Fisher was also in it as well. Rosie's mum from Titanic. Although I believe she died, I think she died last year maybe. And also this guy here, what is his name? I think it's Travis Fimmel, this bloke here. I don't know, but was he in Vikings? Is he the one that was in the Vikings TV show? He looks familiar, but I'm not sure. Josh Hopkins as well, but I think that might be Travis Fimmel. Yeah, I could be right on that. But yeah, I mean, give it a go. It's a really good Western. Obviously, you know, it's not up there with, you know, the big Western classics like Tombstone and The Quick and the Dead and stuff like that, and Unforgiven, even though I need to give it another try. But it still is a really good Western, and I'm glad it got a release. I'm glad it got a release. They even have a little thing at the end for the cinematographer as well. It deserved to be seen for her sake, you know, as a tribute to her, to see her work. And it is beautiful. It does look beautiful. So yeah, I would definitely give it a go. I would give it a go. It's a long Western, 2 hours and 20 minutes. And it's a more of a Western road trip. Yeah. But yeah, definitely give Rust a go. So there we go. That is the end of this video. That is the end of Big Pauly's review roundup. Yeah. Oh, I know. It's no longer stuff I could be bothered to watch. I thought I'd just change the name a bit. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it by giving it some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share. There will be another one of these coming along very soon. Until the next video, bye bye.